Your cat is sitting next to you, calm, relaxed. You reach over to pet it, and it bites you. Not a scratch, not a warning, a bite, out of nowhere. And it's not random. People think they know their cats. They think cats are moody, independent, a little weird. They see the sudden bite, and they laugh it off. Classic cat behavior. They go back to scrolling. But there's something else going on, something most cat owners never figure out. Because cats that bite, suddenly, without warning, are actually communicating something very specific. And once you understand what it is, you'll never look at your cat the same way. Here's what most people believe. They think the bite came out of nowhere. One second everything was fine, the next, teeth. But here's the strange part. It didn't come out of nowhere. There were signals, small ones, and your cat was sending them for longer than you think. The question is, what were they trying to say? Cats have what researchers call a stimulation threshold. It's essentially a limit, a ceiling, for how much physical contact they can handle before their nervous system says, stop. Every cat has a different ceiling. Some cats can be petted for an hour. Some cats hit their limit in 90 seconds. And here's what makes it complicated. That limit moves. It changes based on the day, the temperature, how much they slept, whether something stressed them out earlier, whether you're touching the wrong spot. So the bite that felt random to you, your cat had already crossed their threshold. They were done. They just didn't have another way to say it. But that's only part of it, because here's where it gets interesting.
Before a cat bites, they always give signals. Always. The problem is, those signals are tiny, subtle, and they happen fast. The tail starts moving, not wagging like a dog, a slow, low flick, side to side. That's not happiness. That's a warning system activating. The skin on their back might ripple, a small twitch, almost invisible. Their ears shift, just slightly, backward. Their eyes dilate. All of this happens in seconds. And if you're not watching, and most people aren't, you miss every single one of them. By the time you feel the bite, your cat had already been signaling for help. And that changes everything about what the bite actually means. But it goes deeper than that, because not all sudden bites are the same, and the reason matters. There's something called redirected aggression, and it's one of the most misunderstood things in cat behavior. Here's how it works. Your cat is sitting by the window. They see another cat outside, or a bird, or something moving fast. Their predator instinct activates. They want to chase, they want to hunt. But they can't get there. That energy builds, and then you walk by. And your cat bites you, not because of anything you did, not because they're angry at you, but because that energy had nowhere else to go, and you were there. It's not personal, but it feels personal. And that confusion is what makes it so unsettling. Now here's what most people miss. The bite isn't always about overstimulation, and it's not always redirected aggression. Sometimes a sudden bite is pain. Cats are masters at hiding discomfort. It's an instinct. In the wild, showing weakness is dangerous, so cats suppress it, they absorb it, they keep going. But there's a threshold for pain too, and when you touch a spot that hurts, a sore joint, a sensitive area, somewhere they've been quietly protecting, the response is fast, automatic. They don't think about it, they react. So if your cat bites when you touch a specific spot, consistently, that's worth paying attention to. That's not attitude, that's a signal. Think about the last time your cat froze. Not the playful freeze before a pounce. The other kind. The kind where they're completely still, staring at something you can't see. Eyes wide, body low. You probably looked where they were looking, saw nothing. But your cat was reacting to something real. Cats can hear frequencies humans can't. They feel vibrations through the floor. Their whiskers detect the smallest changes in airflow. They're processing a completely different layer of the world, all the time. What they're responding to in those moments is information. Information you don't have access to. And that moment when they bite you suddenly, sometimes that's the same thing. They're reacting to something in their environment. Something they felt, or heard, or sensed that shifted their internal state, and you made contact at exactly the wrong moment. You've probably noticed this before and didn't have a name for it.
That moment when everything seemed fine. Your cat was purring, relaxed, letting you pet them, and then something changed. A small sound from outside, a car door, a voice, and suddenly the energy in the room was different. Your cat felt it before you did. And their response, the bite, the sudden escape, the stiffening, that was them processing a threat signal. Even if the threat wasn't real, their nervous system doesn't wait to confirm. It reacts first. Here's the part that changes how you see all of this. Cats that bite suddenly, they're not broken. They're not mean. They're not trying to hurt you. They're overwhelmed, or in pain, or flooded with an instinct they can't override, or reacting to a world you can only partially perceive. The bite is the last option. It's what happens when every other signal got missed. And most of the time, the signals were there. The slow tail flick, the skin ripple, the slight turn of the ear, the change in breathing. Your cat was asking for space, or telling you something hurt, or trying to discharge energy that had nowhere to go. The bite was just the only thing loud enough to finally get your attention. Once you start watching for the small signals, something shifts. You start to catch the tail flick and stop petting before the threshold hits. You notice the ripple across the back. You see the ear move, and you give them a moment. And the bites start to decrease. Not because your cat changed, because the communication finally worked. There's one more thing. Cats that bite without warning, that's different from cats that warn and bite. If a cat that never showed aggression suddenly starts biting, or biting more than before with no clear trigger, that warrants a vet visit. Pain changes behavior, so does neurological stress, so does illness. The sudden bite isn't always behavioral. Sometimes the body is speaking. Your cat has been watching you this whole time, reading your movements, your energy, your sounds, the way you breathe when you're stressed, the way you reach for them when you're tired. They've built a map of you, and they respond to it constantly. And every time they've bitten you, every time you walked away confused, they were responding to something on that map. Something they noticed, something they felt, something they had no other way to show you. And they've been doing it the whole time.